On this edition of the Desert Vision, we dive into the history of women in the military. We will look at joint operations training at Camp Arifjan, and the USNS Mendanca arrives at Port Shueba. Welcome to the Desert Vision, presented by U.S. Army Central. I'm Sergeant David Graves.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Howes.
All those stories and more, but first, coming up, we go to Jordan, where a very sharply dressed Sergeant Marty Borton was on hand for a special musical night.
You're right about that. There are several bands that are playing today, and at the very end, we'll join as one big band to finish off the evening. U.S. Forces Afghanistan 1st Cavalry Division Band Detachment, Jordan Armed Forces Bands, and the British Royal Parachutist Band performed for a charity event held for wounded soldiers at the Jordan Armed Forces Hotel.
Today we had the pleasure of working with the Jordanian Armed Forces Band and the Royal Parachute Band from the United Kingdom. Relationship building is key. The better relationships we have with our partner nations in the area further enables us as militaries to better execute our missions. In this part of the world, there's a very strong mission that we have to do, and having this partner nation strategically strong is important for what we do at Army Central.
The groups came together before the event for rehearsal, and even with a language barrier, they were all in sync. One of the princes of Jordan, Prince Murad, attended the event, and after his welcoming speech, the ceremony began.
This event this evening is a show of appreciation towards Jordanian servicemen and women and to all noble soldiers around the world.
Each country's band performed specialty numbers. The Jordan String Band started off the event with classical pieces, and the 1st Cav Brass Quintet performed marches from Susa. Next was Arabic music. The British performed a jazzy number. And the 1st Cav Pop Band closed off separate performances with some Journey.
The ending of the concert was fantastic to see everybody working together. All the phones came out, everybody's taking media snapshots of what's going on. It's obvious that we struck a chord here in the audience tonight.
Well, that wraps things up here at the concert. It was certainly a joyous event where everyone came together to celebrate the international language known as music. Back to you.
And that performance was held to honor wounded veterans from all 3 countries involved.
A handful of National Guard leaders visited Kuwait recently to check on operations from their respected units. Brigadier General Arthur Logan from Hawaii was excited to see how things are coming along.
The different states will go visit their units wherever they are here in the Kuwait theater. As always expected, Arsen and Kuwait do a great job at taking care of soldiers and airmen and basically all the services that come through here.
Brigadier General Logan visited with Bravo 777th, an aviation maintenance unit at Camp Arifjan, as well as the 151st Security Forces Squadron in Al Jaber. Each leader was here to assess the mission, quality of life, as well as how U.S. ARCENT is taking care of troops. We'll be right back after this.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do us. What's wrong with you? It's not getting.
You are dealing with pain, anger, a heaviness. It feels like there is no way out. It seems like you are in this by yourself, battling alone. But you are part of one Army family, shoulder to shoulder with a community there to get you through these hard times. There is no shame, no guilt in seeking out help. So if you are struggling, feeling depressed, or even having thoughts of suicide, it is time to talk to someone. Your Army family is committed to finding you the strength and hope you need to rebound from adversity. Because, above all else, our most essential resource is you.
Command Sergeant Major Eric Dostie is on the move again, and photojournalist Sergeant Marco Gutierrez was along for the ride.
U.S. Army Central Command Sergeant Major Eric Dostie visited soldiers in Iraq on February 28th. This was the first time that Command Sergeant Major Eric Dostie has visited soldiers in Iraq since the start of operations to retake Mosul. The trip included visits to Q West and Erbil, where Command Sergeant Major Dostie handed out command coins for soldiers, demonstrating excellence.
And that's Command Sergeant Major Dostie's first official visit back to Iraq since the retaking of Mosul.
When people think of March, they think of St. Patrick's Day and the eventual oncoming of spring. For women in the military, it means so much more. With March being Women's History Month, we take an in-depth look at how far we have come.
I am an American soldier.
I am a warrior and a member of a team.
Following World War II, the permanent presence of women in the military is formally established with the Women's Medical Specialist Corps, the Army Nurse Corps, and the Women's Army Corps.
I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values.
I will always place the mission first.
In 1970, the Chief of the Army Nurse Corps and the Director of the Women's Army Corps are the first women to be promoted to Brigadier General. In 2008, General Ann Dunwoody becomes the Army's first, and to date, only female 4-star general.
I will never accept defeat.
I will never quit.
In 1971, the first women are allowed access to all male drill sergeant schools and NCO Academy program. In 2015, Specialist Skylar Anderson is the first woman to graduate as a combat engineer.
I will never leave a fallen comrade.
I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills.
In 1972, all military occupational specialties are open to women, except those that might require combat training or duty, and the ban on women commanding units that include men is lifted. In 2014, Captain Lauren Glover becomes the first female commander of the all-male United States Army drill team.
I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional.
In 1977, women are integrated into basic training units alongside men. In 1978, the Women's Army Corps is disbanded, and in 1979, enlistment qualifications become the same for men and women. In 2015, First Lieutenant Shay Haver, Captain Kristen Greist, and Major Lisa Jaster became the first women to complete Army Ranger School and earn the Ranger tab.
I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat.
In 1980, the first women graduate from the United States Military Academy. In 2015, Lieutenant General West becomes the highest-ranking woman to have graduated West Point, when she is named Surgeon General of the United States Army and Commanding General, U.S. Army Medical Command.
I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life.
In 2016, the Army opens all specialties, career fields, and branches to women.
The best qualified, regardless of gender, are now afforded the opportunity to serve.
We
are American soldiers!
Once a soldier.
A soldier for life.
Welcome back to the Desert Vision. Members of the 368th and 207th Engineers provided 4 teams to compete against students at the Land Force Institute at Camp Buring. The half-mile obstacle course was made up of tunnels, high walls, and 4 different water challenges. The Land Force Institute is made up of soldiers from Kuwait, Great Britain, Lebanon, and Bangladesh. The teams had to finish the course with all members of the squad together at the finish line. Each team finished in under 10 minutes.
Moving equipment in and out of theater can be a daunting task. Having naval ships like the USNS Mendanka to help carry the load definitely helps. Take a look.
The USNS Mendanka clocks in at over 950 feet. The ship is mainly used to move vehicle cargo. The 936th Expeditionary Terminal Operating Element is the first unit of its kind to deploy, and it's their job to ensure all the pieces get to the right spot.
They're conducting an ETO operation. Basically, this has never been done before. It's something new. So basically what they're doing, when we have our vessel operations, they're doing vessel and port operations put combined in order to make an ETO operation.
You'll notice that the headroom in here is a little lower.
The ship is loaded down with equipment ranging from trailers and Humvees up to tanks weighing over 70 tons. After removing over 900 pieces from the ship, the 936th can begin loading it right back up.
So this vessel is going to get approximately 1,600 pieces of equipment, big pieces like this. We're going to get it all on the boat, get it all tied down, and then we're going to turn it around in approximately about 4 days.
With over 2,500 pieces being moved in less than a week, First Sergeant Adolf Romero is keeping his mind on the big picture.
So in order for us to place all of this heavy equipment in one area anywhere in the world, we have to have the marine asset like the Mendanka that can go into any area, whether it's improved or unimproved, and place combat power there at that location.
You know, it's still hard to believe just the sheer size of that ship.
Really? What's it like on the inside? Spacious?
Well, the lower cargo decks are still pretty packed, but the upper decks are really roomy.
Wow, amazing. Coming up, we're going to speak with the commander of the 31st Combat Support Hospital right after this.
Relax, relax. You all tense. Kind of buff too.
You want to change my oil? I mean, you know, I'm just saying.
I know you. You got a promotion board coming up, right?
Roger.
Roger, okay. Want to make those points? I can help you out if you need the help. All you gotta do is call. It's all about who you know. Yeah, like you're scared. I ain't gonna hurt you.
Sorry.
He's a peach.
Welcome back to the Desert Vision. On this edition of our Sit Down, we're joined by Colonel George Kyle of the 31st Combat Support Hospital here at Arifjan out of Fort Bliss, Texas. Sir, thank you for joining me.
Cool, my pleasure.
So you're the commander of the 31st. Tell me a little bit about your job.
So the 31st Combat Support Hospital out of Fort Bliss is a combat support hospital designed to support the warfighter in a deployed environment. It is a 248-bed hospital. Our specific job during this deployment are twofold. One is to run the U.S. military hospital here in Kuwait in Camp Arifjan, and the second is to be ready. To be ready when the RCENT commanding general says, I need you somewhere else. We've got a dedicated team ready to respond to that mission.
What's it like being over so many different components?
Well, the interesting thing is my job is just to make sure that we leverage the resources that the folks doing the work need. So our soldiers from all different units, subordinate units, they handle their job, they have the expertise, and they do it quite well. My job is to make sure they have the resources they need from the operational and strategic level to succeed.
Tell me what people should know that are stationed here about your situation and your setup.
So the primary thing is it's good, top-notch quality health care. That's first and foremost. We strive for the same quality and safety standards as a hospital back in wherever home is, be it the United States of America or Canada or Britain. We strive for the same universal standards of quality care and safe care. Beyond that, we bring an element of care to it. Beyond the science of medicine, we pride ourselves in practicing the art of medicine, and that's the caring part.
So you are running a full hospital 8,000 miles away in the desert that you could potentially pop up in tents as you see fit in a random country in the Middle East. But on top of that, you're also doing it hand in hand with the host nation. Tell me a little bit about that connection and that partnership.
So our host nation facilities, our host nation partners, really enable us to expand the care we can provide in theater and hopefully keep a soldier in theater and return them to duty as opposed to evacuate them out of theater and therefore perhaps lose them from the battle space.
Do you have a message for the troops, for your soldiers at the hospital?
So quite simply, our message is rightfully proud. That's our mantra, that's our slogan, and that's what we mean. When I took command about 18 months ago, I asked the soldiers to show me what it meant to be rightfully proud, and every one of them, whether they're our organic soldiers or our PROFIS soldiers from other organizations, they have done it every day. They perform the routine things expertly well, and I'm tremendously proud of them.
All right, well said. That's Colonel George Kyle with the 31st Combat Support Hospital. We'll be right back after this.
Someone's gonna carry the weight. Don't malinger.
We've all heard not to touch the wildlife, but what about those cats on post? Sergeant Marty Borton tells us they're here for a special mission.
Wonder why we have cats living on the installation? They are part of the Area Support Group Kuwait's Trap and Release program.
The TNR program is a program where cats are trapped by pest management. They're presented to the veterinary facility to be examined and deemed acceptable or healthy enough to enter back into the general cat population.
The vets test for viruses, implant a microchip, clip an ear, and spay or neuter the animal if they are deemed fit for the program.
This made the skin incision. It's the initial incision. Trying to stay away from her vessels. We'll get a lot of bleeding. They're very beneficial to SG Kuwait and RCENT's mission, but I do stress you should not touch these animals, even if the left ear is tipped. They're still not safe to touch. These animals, they do have a mission. They're left here and they're here to help us control the pest population and to keep other cats from migrating in.
For U.S. Army Central, I'm Army Sergeant Marty Borton.
So that means if you feed those cats, they'll be less effective hunters.
So I should probably stop bringing them to-go containers from the chow hall then, huh?
Yes, I would say so. That's it for this edition of the Desert Vision.
For all these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
For U.S. Army Central, I'm Staff Sergeant Heaven Howes.
And I'm Sergeant David Graves. Thank you for watching.